Hello and welcome back to UML Operator. In this episode, we're going to talk about backing up and sharing your My Searches custom SQL. Over a year ago, I did a video on my searches, and I've done a few videos on searching in Sparx EA in general, but I'm seeing a lot of bad practices across modelers and their shops, and I'm starting to get a lot of questions on how to move or share your custom SQL across your Windows installations and other installations, as well as across projects. So let's get into it. So when you first open up Sparx, and let me go to the default locations for those that are just starting out. So what we're going to do is go to workspaces, and I'm just going to go to default. So default layout, browsers on the left, properties on the right, and notes is in the lower right. So from the start tab right here, we're going to go to search, model, and then in here, you have the ability to look across various canned from Sparx search capabilities. And then if you choose, let's say requirements, the next window only has 2 SQL options for you. So you're able to get to specific SQL searches that Sparx gives to you. But if you hit this drop down and you do not see My Searches, that means you haven't created your own custom SQL search yet. First, I want to talk about where your custom SQL is stored. So if you go to your user folder, wherever that is, look for the user name of that particular instance. You go to app data, roaming, you'll see Sparx systems, EA, and a folder called search data. Now in here, I have quite a few XMLs that I use and I switch, but the file is named EA search. And I put a 1 in here just to hide EA search, because if Sparx does not see EA search, then it will not show up, your custom SQL will not show up in this first drop-down option. So I restarted Sparx, went back to the same project, doesn't matter which project you're in. We're going to launch search again. And now, because I activated that, we see My Searches. So these are all of my custom search SQL that I've created. I've got chart. So I use a naming convention that tells me, well, what is this SQL for? So if I go to it, we go ahead and expose the SQL. This is basically the SQL for some charts that we use in this project, SQL for design. So I talked about this in a previous video, the naming convention for your custom SQL. Make sure you have one. Do not just keep these without a category within these. Otherwise, they were going to be difficult to find and manage. So you want to know what searches you use for solutioning, design, dashboarding, reporting, utilities, and so on. So come up with a naming convention and there you go. So a lot of different SQL that's in here that I reuse across projects and then I would share with other teams. In other videos, I've shown you how to back up your individual SQL that you're using. There's no files in here in this particular project for these connections, but we can basically come in here and run the SQL, find particular projects. There's only one project that's being exposed here. But if I want to back this up, this particular one, if I go to this dropdown, you'll see Export SQL. And then I can come down, because this is utility, find diagrams. So I can go down to the utility in here and I can select find diagrams. Now, and then I'm just going to check, and I'm only saving this particular SQL. Now, unfortunately, you can't change the size of this dialog box, which is a little bit frustrating. So that's why it's important to have a naming convention. What category this custom SQL is in. These happen to be all utilities that we use. And if you mouse over, you get the full name, but I wish we had the ability to size this so I can see them. The other thing you can't do, like if I just wanted to back up all my utilities, you can't select one. You have to go through and select them all. You can't go down all the way down to the end. And then let's go all just down to here and then hit checkbox, and it will only check those. You're not able to do that. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out. So if you're going to back up your individual files, put them in a file location, a file share, if you will, that you're able to back them up and get to them. So utilities, I happen to have an XML file just for utilities, and I have one for solution, design, charts. Then I have an EA search master. This is basically all my custom searches I keep in a master file. And then I back up the EA_search file in a file share. And then if I'm developing SQL, I use a naming convention, test only underscore, and then whatever the name is, or test underscore. And then I will save test only. And these are demonstration of, this is a bad copy used in a class that I gave. My searches, this is the full XML, but have a place where you can keep your custom SQL when you need to get to them. You'll even have a convention for saving your XML for particular projects. So project, let's have an example, 12345J is the project number. You may have custom SQL searches for that specific project and under that project number. And you may create custom SQL for various programs, projects, or groups. Like our chief security office, the security team has their own custom SQLs when they're doing audit of Sparx models for proprietary information and other things. So make sure you have a file share where you're backing it up. If you're doing category, have a naming convention so that you can quickly bring those up. If you're saving individuals, and you can see that I've got quite a few of those. Yeah, I would put those in a separate folder. Make sure you're using the name that you gave that particular SQL. And I would use an underscore date or version number within that XML file that you're saving. Now you can automate this process, but please always make sure you have a backup of your EA_search.xml, right? I keep that in a separate backup folder, but in case something goes wrong, that you have a backup, because losing your custom SQL is a very bad thing and a waste of time and labor. So essentially, we just have a simple batch program here that we wrote. Usually your administrator, your MCSE or Microsoft admin will handle file transfers and changes to the local machines. They'll ripple them across groups or individuals. But this is just a simple batch program that basically goes through, renames the file, the original to the date and time. So you have a version. You can use any scheme that you want for creating a backup. But then what it does is it allows you to select, let's say in this choice number 2 would say, I want to replace EA_search.xml with this file that has underscore and then what the project number is. So if I was to go ahead and select 2, it would create this EA_search.xml file right here. Then reloading Sparx will basically give us access to my searches that contain those particular project-only SQL items. So that is backing up, sharing, and just testing your SQL as you're going through development, and ensure that you're able to manage these files, because this is a great deal of time. It's also a great deal of time for users to find particular SQL, and projects normally will have chart, of solution and design, and maybe a handful of utilities that allow stakeholders to find particular things within a project. All right, we're going to wrap up now. I hope this episode was helpful for you. Again, thank you for all the support and the great questions, by the way. Try to cover as much as I could in this short period of time. There's lots of reasons to create custom SQLs we've talked about in the channel. One of the primary reasons is to manage your data. That's the nice thing about Sparx Enterprise Architect is it's a SQL backend, and you have the ability within Sparx to actually manage your own data, slice and dice it the way you want it to. And you spend a lot of time creating that SQL, and others may be interested in it. You want to share with them. Last year, we went through a lot of redeployments, new desktops as folks were moving from Windows 10 or before to Windows 11. Very painful for many in setting up their Sparx environments as well as their other tooling. They had to start over again in many cases, but in Sparx you don't have to. So this episode was to help you show you how to take your SQL and share it amongst others, move it to your new machine, and then work from there. So thanks again for watching, and until that next episode, happy modeling.